So those of you tuning in to see Kyle, you may be feeling a bit confused and not sure if you clicked on the right video link. You may be asking yourself, something seems different about Kyle today. He clearly seems sexier than usual, but there's got to be something more to it than just that. Well, rest assured, you have tuned into the right channel. This is Kyle's channel, but clearly I am not Kyle. I'm Rick. And if you've seen some of Kyle's previous videos, you may have seen me on there. I've done a couple live streams with him before. Kyle and I have been friends for a long, long time, and he has graciously allowed me to contribute some content on his channel. So this is my first solo video. So if you have seen previous live streams with Kyle and I, a little bit background on me. I am a police officer on the East Coast. Kyle has talked about that before. And yesterday was National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that I see going on in the law enforcement community and in the community in general that is having a negative effect on law enforcement and the perception of law enforcement. So there's been an ongoing cultural war between the community, the media, politicians against police. And in my opinion, I feel like this culture war against the police started back in 2009 when then President Obama there was an incident where police officers responded to a Harvard professor, a black Harvard professor's home, and they thought he was breaking into the house. Long story short, it turns out the guy lived there, but it was a big misunderstanding. And President Obama got involved and essentially said that the police acted stupidly. And this is a famous incident where he invited the professor and the officer to the White House to have a beer. So in my opinion, that is what may have started the ongoing culture war between the media and politicians, community, and the police. It all started from the White House getting involved with some of this stuff, and the mainstream media just perpetuating it nonstop until we have the situation that we're in now. So Obama's been out of office for a little over 3 years now, and even with President Trump being in office, and he is very pro-law enforcement, there is still the war on police and war on law enforcement going on. And because of that, police departments across the nation are suffering in their recruiting efforts. People just don't want to be cops anymore. Typically, what we find in law enforcement is when the economy is going well, like it is right now, the Dow, last time I checked, the Dow just hit a record of 29,000, which is amazing. It's been a 3-year just run, so hopefully everybody's got their money in a 401k or deferred comp. But typically when the economy is going well, people don't want to be the police. They can make more money in private industry and private corporations. And typically when the economy is bad, people want to be the police because they like the job security, they like the health benefits, they like the guaranteed salary. So when you factor in the combination of the great economy and the war on cops, police departments across the country just cannot find and hire qualified people. And what the community is going to face down the road is there may be some serious issues coming down the road with unqualified people being the police that have no business being the police, because right now you can't find qualified people to hire. So typically what police departments find in police applicants is there's typically 3 different types. First type is somebody who watches CSI or Law and Order and says, oh, I want to be a cop. I want to be a homicide detective. Second type is somebody who likes the power trip and they want to wear the badge. They want to carry the gun. They want to go out and pull traffic stops and arrest people. They want to be the authority figure. Like Cartman from South Park, respect my authority. Those type. The third type is the people that have some type of service in their background. Like for me, for example, I was prior Air Force. So I had that sense of service. People that were Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts growing up, people that did volunteer work, people that go to college for criminal justice, that kind of have an idea of what they're going to be getting into in law enforcement, that kind of better prepare themselves to be cops. So a lot of times that's the 3 type of people that police departments see. Now, obviously, the one that police departments want to target is that third group, the people that have some kind of history of service and want to be the police. But right now, what we're finding is that category of applicants are far and few between, because the mainstream media and politicians have just made it so undesirable to be a cop right now that nobody wants to risk doing it. And even people who are police right now, who are like an older generation of cop, who have sons or daughters who are old enough to be the police, they're telling their kids, like, no, go do something else. You don't want to do this for a living. Go do something else. So it's pretty bad when you have current cops telling their own kids to not be the police and to carry on the family line. And some of that has to do with the fact that, under previous Democratic leadership, there's been no personal accountability for bad behavior. Nobody takes responsibility for everything. It's always somebody else's fault, and it usually boils down to it's always the cop's fault. And so why would anybody want to put themselves in a position of coming and doing a job where you could get killed, hurt, you get spit at, yelled at, told you're not wanted, and this is by the politicians. I'm not talking about the community members. I'm talking about the politicians. So why would anybody want to come do that? And right now you're starting to see some of the effect of depolicing, where cops are sick and tired of what's going on, and they're just like, screw it. You don't want me to do anything? I'm not going to do anything. Look at cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, Baltimore, Chicago, D.C., where just homicides and crime and homelessness is just out of control. I mean, just recently, Los Angeles and San Francisco essentially like decriminalized crime. So you can do whatever you want. So why would anybody want to live there? Why would anybody want to work there is beyond me. So being a cop in LA and San Francisco and just California in general is just very hard right now. And my heart goes out to everybody having to work out there and deal with that situation, because it's definitely not something that you would want to do. In my department, for example, when I applied 26 years ago, there was about 2,000 or 3,000 people that applied for my academy class, and we had 82 people in my academy class. I talked with some people in our recruitment section, and right now we're seeing about 300 or 400 applicants, and we have an academy starting in about 3 weeks. It's got 20 people in it. So that is pathetic. That is absolutely pathetic. And I would think community members and politicians should be concerned about that, because when the current generation of cops retire, there's going to be nobody to replace them. And the community is going to suffer, because somebody's got to come out here and be that thin blue line that protects the community from the criminals. And right now, the way things keep going the way they are, you're not going to have anybody out here to do it. And the only alternative for police departments is to start hiring those first two categories of people that I mentioned that typically don't get hired. The ones that want to be a cop only because they see what they see on TV. And typically, they don't ever make it through the hiring process, because they're pretty easy to weed out during the background investigation and the application process. Those people are pretty easy to spot and weed out. The second group that like the power trip, they may be a little harder to weed out, and a lot of times they may get hired, but typically they'll show their true colors while they're on the job. They may be involved in some use of force complaints, a lot of other type of complaints, and typically somewhere down the road something will happen, and they may either be fired, they may be charged with a crime, or they may be asked to resign. So a lot of times those people can get through the process, but they're identified fairly quickly and moved out of the department. But if you don't have anybody to replace the current generation of cops, the community members might be stuck with people who have no idea what they're doing, or on this massive power trip. And I just foresee huge lawsuits coming for police departments across the country for hiring people that shouldn't be hired. And it's not the department's fault. It's just that there's nobody out there, because nobody wants to be the police anymore, because the media and the politicians has just piled on so much hatred for the police and for law enforcement that nobody wants to do it. No family members want their loved ones to do it. And I honestly don't blame them. I perfectly understand and see why. I have 2 kids. I would not recommend my kids going into law enforcement at this time. So again, with yesterday being National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, I asked Kyle if he would mind if I would just do this quick little video, just espousing my thoughts about the current state of police work and the current state of police recruiting in the country. And again, it's not just where I work, it is nationwide. I mean, if you go on social media, you'll see police departments just offering outrageous benefits and salary and incentives to get people to apply, and they're still just not getting the people to apply, which is sad. So I just wanted to take this few minutes to talk about this stuff and let people know that be appreciative of your law enforcement. I know not everybody likes the police. We get it. Even us as cops, we always get nervous if we're in our personal cars and we see police cars behind us or we see the red and blue lights on. It's natural. It's human nature to get nervous and be wary of cops. Trust us, we get it. But you still got to be supportive of the police, because they are the only ones out there, at 2 o'clock in the morning chasing down bad guys with guns while you're sleeping in your nice warm bed. So it's just something to think about, along with the military, with what just happened recently in Iran. You have to be appreciative of your military. You have to be appreciative of the people that are putting their lives at risk and in danger for somebody they don't even know. And that's what the police and military do on a daily basis. So next time you're out and about and you see an officer in uniform somewhere, and if they're as long as they're not involved in a call, don't go interrupt them while they're doing something. But if you see them just at a shopping center or eating or something and they're not busy, just walk up and say, if you feel like it, just say, thank you, we appreciate your service. I have citizens come up to me all the time telling me that, and I really appreciate it. It kind of makes me feel like, oh, okay, maybe there are some people out here who really do like me. It's not everything I see in the media that everybody hates my guts. So trust me, officers do appreciate hearing that. So with that being said, as always, if you like the content that Kyle puts out, feel free to drop one of these down below. Leave a comment for me. I'll answer whatever I can. Leave a comment for Kyle. Share this video. It helps Kyle grow the channel. We certainly appreciate it. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And hit that notification bell so that you get notified every time Kyle uploads a new video. So thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. And as always, Kyle or I or both of us will talk to you later.